So I migrated to Australia from Canada, and I grew up in inner city Toronto. So it would be the equivalent of growing up probably, yeah, Collins Street, that sort of thing. However, we went camping every year, in different areas of Canada. And I grew a great love for outdoor spaces. And I always wanted to come to this land that I imagined that was vast and empty and flat. This was my imagination. So when I was about 6 years old, I decided I'd come to Australia, which I did. Not at 6, but at 19, a few years later. And I left Canada for about 3 months, and I ended up staying for about a year and a half in my travels, and I went through Southeast Asia as well. Went back to Canada for a year, and then I decided I really wanted to migrate, which I did. So I came and I completed my first years of university in Melbourne, and then there was a job in Albury for an environmental planning position. And so I took that job, and that's where I had my young ideals of, being an environmentalist and I was going to change the world, and confronted with what was actually, what the challenges actually were for regional and rural communities. At that time, from all my studies, what I was mostly confronted with were images of who's a greenie, who's a farmer, who votes for what, who does what. And I realized that if you scratch beneath the surface, it's all rather superficial. And the reason why is because I met all these farmers and who would say things like, I'm not a greenie, but, and they were concerned about salinity. I'm not a greenie, but I don't think we should be wasting our water resources. Or, I'm not a greenie, but I'm concerned about GMO, or on the other side, I'm concerned I can't grow GMO, genetically modified foods, those sorts of things. And I realized that we had all these political divisions that were not they were hindering discussions between people who really want to make the world a better place. And the number of farmers who are spending a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of their own money replanting areas, looking after the riparian land, trying to reduce runoff into the waterways to make sure that the whole system was healthier. And within that, it really made me look at how do we mediate and negotiate between what people think their position is to try to find that space where we can concentrate on our joint interest. And so it made me love inland Australia. And because of that, when I went to do my PhD in the city of Melbourne, and so when I completed that, my first objective was to try to get back to a regional area. And those were the jobs that I was looking for, which brought me here to Bendigo. And it was the best decision I've made. And within that, it's provided me incredible opportunity because of the people, because of how much they care. And I realized that when I conduct my research and I'm going into a town and I tell them where I'm from Latrobe, and they're a bit suspicious. And then when they realize that, yes, I actually work in Bendigo, there's a greater sense of trust or relief because I think that they feel that there's going to be a greater connection. They'll understand some of the issues that they're facing.